Hello everyone, and welcome to this devlog, which will present to you my game design project. First thing first, I will talk about my initial concept and my different constraints. My gameplay constraint was that the NPC movements have to be discrete, but not the player ones. My time constraint was museum and archaeology. By combining these two ideas, my game design idea is the following: a reverse infiltration game in which the player is a museum guard and has to catch the thieves that are coming into his museum during the night. The player will have to learn the different movement patterns of the thieves and try to catch them without being seen.
As you can see, what I've mainly prepared for this prototype are different maps, but also different movement patterns for the enemies. It's a turn-by-turn prototype in which the game master will have to play each turn by following the constraint of his movement, depending of the thief he has chosen at the beginning of the night. The player, for his part, can move freely on the map. Basically, the enemy will play on the enemy map, so the player can't see the enemy movement. The only moment the player can see the enemy movement is at the time where the player is at 3 cases of the enemy. Also, at the moment as the player is in front of the enemy, is considered as seen. When this is the case, the enemy break his pattern and will go as soon as possible to the closest exit.
In this prototype, I play a guard. As you can see, an element is marked in orange. That means that the enemy passed there. Here, for example, my game finished because the enemy reached his final position. I can see the enemy at the moment that I'm close at him, but if the enemy see me, he will just go directly to the closest exit. If I try to catch the enemy and I press space, the enemy is destroyed. In my level, I add a timer. Enter in the collision box of an sealable piece. There is the name of a dinosaur which is written. To help the player to memorize easier what was stolen or not. And if I start again, you will see that now I have a camera in the bottom right corner. So we are in the game. If I start the game, I can select a level. Let's say that I select the level 1. You can see I have an interface now. I have my torchlight. I lose energy when I activate it. If I'm seen by the enemy, there is an alarm, and also the enemy is flying. The game gives me my score, and then I can go to the scoreboard. I can select the level where I want to see my score, and my score appear. So first, as you can see, now in my level 1, you can directly see the enemy, and you can directly see that the enemy is turning that place to orange. Also, I've had another enemy which has a small pattern on the left right here, so you can also easily see that enemies have a pattern and that they are repeating their pattern. I've also added arms to my player, so when I press space, you can visually see the hitbox of my attacks. And as you can see, I've also improved the lights. So you will see in a few seconds the timer. So, welcome to the last iteration of my game. So the first thing I did in that last iteration is the fact that I created an introduction level to introduce the player to the new mechanics. I created an arrow that focused on the last stolen item to help the player to find the last stolen item. I changed a bit the UI to make it more readable. That now I have a light that can slow the enemies, and also there is no more the name of the dinosaur in the levels because I was using text, which was something to avoid. Plus, I remarked that the player weren't reading the names anyway. I also created a jail, as you can see, so now the player can see that he capture the enemy and he don't kill them. And I also changed the pattern of the enemies, so now the player have a longer time of reaction